Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of e-marketing. This is chapter 1. You should have this book, the 6th edition of the e-marketing book by Judy Cross. Let's have a look at the objectives of this chapter. In this session, we'll be explaining about how advances in the internet and information technology offers both the benefits as well as there are challenges to consumers, businesses, marketers, and society. As you can see, it affects everyone. Secondly, we'll distinguish between the e-business and the e-marketing. Then we'll explain how increasing buyer control is changing the market landscape. We all as customer are observing that as customers we are in the commanding seat. We are the decision makers now. The manufacturers or suppliers do not have much of a control. Understand the distinction between the information or entertainment as data. And finally, we'll identify some trends that may shape the future of the marketing. At the beginning of this chapter, I would like you to read that case, a short case on what is called the Barack Obama campaign story. Basically, it's a campaign from President Obama of the US when he was on his campaign to get elected as a president. And it's an interesting case in the sense that you will see how Obama targeted the 18 to 29-year-old voters who were using the internet and who are using the internet, and study has shown that about 93% of this age group is online, and they use the internet to get information and connect with friends. As we have learned in the marketing management class, that you need to see where your target audience is. So in this case, Barack Obama saw that his target audience is mostly online, so he dedicated much of his campaign on the internet. As a matter of fact, he spent about $26.6 million on the internet campaigns. And then the Facebook showed very encouraging signs for him. It displayed about 8 million Obama friends. And then also when you read the case, you will see that Obama was able to raise funds for his campaigns through online channels. At least 2/3 of all those campaigns came from online. So this shows you the power of the internet as a marketing media. In this case, of course, the product was Obama. The votes were the one they wanted the voters who happened to be the customers to purchase those so that they could elect the president. And of course, when you read the case, you'll also see that apart from other marketing tools, which happens to be face-to-face and then advertising, etc., the online campaign turned out to be one of the best, and it did make an impact in there. It not only successfully mobilized the voters to start the conversation themselves and build their own groups. It's also a perfect example of creating brand advocates, because Obama became a brand in itself. So also one of the advantage of this online campaign was that this campaign helped them use the performance matrix to measure the success of its strategies and tactics. As we will learn later on in the course, that internet is an excellent tool to measure the performance of any advertising or marketing campaigns, which has been a big problem for the marketers before. So for example, when they are spending so much money on advertising, a company needs to see how effective that campaign was. And it's very tricky and difficult to measure that. But in the case of Obama campaign, or in the case of online, you are able to then measure it very easily. The internet, as we said, is the part and parcel of this internet marketing. So we will be spending a little bit time on the technical aspects of the internet in this and the next chapter, and then we'll move along to how the application of the internet is on the marketing area. So internet is a global network of interconnected networks. We use internet every day, and of course uh, if we talk about the definition of internet, it is basically a network of networks. Essentially, it's the networks expanded all over the world, and then you are able to communicate through those networks. As we see, emails and data files move over the phone lines, cables, and satellites. Back in the old days, when in early 90s, if you wanted to start a business, and especially the international business, you would have to send letters or call over the phones, and it would not only be very costly but also time consuming too. Today, if you want to send emails or data files, it takes seconds to reach your customers or potential customers, uh, no matter where they are in all over the world. There are three types of access to the internet. The first one is what is called the public internet, and this is the internet which is open to everyone, everywhere, accessible in the global network. Secondly, the intranet. The intranet is network that runs internally in an organization. So for example, within SoulBridge also we have an intranet in which we are communicating to our colleagues or to our management using the internal network of the organization. Thirdly is the extranet, in which one or two organizations are joining their networks to share the information. So as an example, if we think of Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola may have their own intranet, in which in the server part of that could be for purchasing and or the inventory information, as an example. Now if you want to share this information to one of your supplier, let's say a sugar supplier, maybe that sugar supplier can go online, access your network which has got the information of your inventory, and of course you authorize them by giving them a password. They can join that network, and then they can see what is the status of the inventory. So in this case, as I'm giving you the example of sugar, so let's say a sugar supplier goes to the intranet or to the extranet of Coca-Cola to check the inventory, and they see that the sugar in their stock is low. In this case, the Coke has allowed them that as soon as the stock goes down, they can ship the sugar to the company. So as you can see in this example, it saves time and money for the Coke to make phone calls and send them orders so that the sugar supplier can send sugar. Also, it cuts down the cost in the storage for the sugar, because now in this case they don't need to keep the extra sugar there, because they know that anytime when the inventory goes down, the sugar supplier will send us the shipment anyway. Over the past few years, or since the internet started, and we have been using different kind of terminologies, and I'm sure you have read these before, you've come across these, the e-business, the e-commerce, and the e-marketing. Of course, the question comes in, what is the main difference between these three? And from the words, you can probably guess what is the difference though. So for example, in the first one, which is the e-business, it's the continuous optimization of the firm's business activities through digital technology. So think of e-business as an umbrella in which the overall organization has adopted the digital technology, and they're using all their strategic decision making as well as their business activities by digital technology. And then comes in the e-commerce, which is a subset of the e-business. As I said, under the umbrella, you can see e-commerce, which is a subset of e-business, focusing mostly on transactions of buying and selling, and that's called e-commerce. So online sales and purchase of products and goods and services is called e-commerce. Then comes the e-marketing, which we have the focus on this in this course. It is the result of the information technology applied to traditional marketing. So now you are using the information technology or the internet in order to apply the traditional marketing principles and then use that to, of course, to fulfill the needs and wants of the customers, to provide customer service, to deliver products and services, and to communicate, etc., etc. As you can see, in all these technologies helping the marketeers to satisfy the needs and wants of the customer. E-marketing is actually bigger than even the web, because the web, as we said, is a network of networks. But what we are saying here is, in this case, the web is the portion of the internet that supports a graphical user interface or GUI for hypertext navigation and a browser. The web is what people think about when they think of internet. But in the case of e-marketing, we are talking about not only just the websites, but it's much more than that. We are talking about communicating to the customer, talking about uh, putting the brochure online in order for the customers to see. And in some cases, when we have a digital product like music or ebooks, we can deliver them online as well. So it's much bigger than the web. The web is only one aspect of marketing. So as you can see, the digital content, which is on the left side here, it includes the data, the text, the audio, the graphics, and the video. These are the things which are digitized, and as we all know, that something which could be digitized could also be downloaded by the customer through the internet distribution. It could be through modem, cable, etc., etc. But now we also have these two-way appliances. Rather than just using the computer for delivering these contents, we use the smartphones. All of us have them. We could use the television. We could be using the automobiles and the refrigerators, etc., in the coming years. So it's not just exclusively limited to the computers, these digital content. The information could be delivered by these appliances as well. And who knows, in the coming years, there might be some more appliances we will be adding as we move along. The internet provides the individual users with convenient and continuous access to information, entertainment, and communication. We all do that every day. We use the internet to get the information and use it for entertainment as well as communication too. Secondly, the communities form around shared photos, which is Flickr, or videos around YouTube, individuals, which could be profiles, company profiles on the Facebook as an example. So there are social communities also. The digital environment enhances the processes and activities of businesses. This is an important sentence in the sense that you need to see that when we have the digital environment, it enhances those activities among the businesses. They can communicate to each other. They can send, for example, the pictures of their designs of the products. They can send they can share the more and more information. They can also do online purchasing as an example, in which case we have the procurement, businesses dealing with businesses online. Societies and economies are enhanced through more efficient markets, more jobs, and information access. As we learn later on that since the internet started, we all know about that too, though, that how this area of, especially the e-marketing, it has really exploded. Lots of jobs have been created, and not only just in e-marketing, but in other areas of marketing as well. Since we have said that internet is the basic which has helped us do the use the internet for on the application of the traditional marketing principles, let's have a look at what is the penetration of the internet all over the world. Before in 96, when it was in the very early stages of internet, there weren't that many customers using the internet. So of course at that time the impact of the e-marketing was not as much as we are seeing today. It is amazing to see how much business is being conducted in countries other than even the US. So let's have a look. This is the internet users all over the world. As you can see, Asia is the biggest user, 42%, and the predictions are that it'll keep on increasing as far as the percentage of the users, because North America, even though it's a mature market, mostly about 90% of the people have got the access to the internet. So, but it is compared to the whole world, it's only 14% of the market. Same way, Latin America, South America, they are 10%. Europe is 24%, Middle East is 3%, but Asia is a big chunk of it. And of course, a lot has to do with the population. But what is interesting to note is in the coming years, this percentage will keep on increasing because of the Chinese population, because of the Indian population, these emerging economies in which the middle class is increasing. They are, of course, using the internet more and more. So as we see the more and more internet users, the scope of e-marketing will be increasing as well. Just a brief history of the internet. In 1969, it was started as a network of academic and the military usage, in which there was exchange of some um, typing, or you can say of the web pages which were browsed. They appeared in 1993. The first generation of e-business was like a gold rush then, because after 96 then everybody wanted to get online because they could see the potential of the internet. So between 2000 and 2002, more than 500 internet users, they shut down in the business in the US. So of course the question comes in, why did they shut down? This is actually called the bubble burst of year 2000 or 2001, because in this case these companies shut down. So the question comes in, why did they shut down? Because everybody wanted to go online, and why did these companies close down? One of the reason behind that was that most of these companies in like after 1996, they saw this as an excellent opportunity at that time, and they said that they could be missing on opportunities, so they invested a lot of money, especially the technical companies, technology companies. They spent on a lot of money on the websites. However, the problem was that they were not marketing people, and they offered lots of products. People got very excited that, wow, this is good, the website looks good. But when it came to the delivery of the products and the goods, they failed very badly. They were not able to deliver products. So you see, as a customer maybe is interested in the website too, but at the end of the day, customer wants the product or the service, right? If the product and services which you are delivering is not the best, nobody cares if the website is good, right? So these companies, they were not able to deliver the products and services. The customers got very frustrated, and the customer decided not to do business with them anymore. So this company or these companies got shut down. Remember now, at that time, there were not many internet users also. Then after 2002, the businesses started to go back, sort of what we call it, back to the drawing board, to see whether how they can make some changes to see if they can satisfy the customer and make it more customer centric. That is the time then results showed that about 60% of the public.com companies became profitable. But during the 2000 2002, it was a big chaos. Lots of companies went out of business because of the poor marketing model. Here is an internet timeline. Of course, we don't expect you to memorize that. This is just an idea to have you see that how from 1969 to 2010 the internet has progressed. And if you look at even the 2004 as an example, 16% of the world population use the internet. Business figures out how to be profitable with the e-business model. This was the biggest problem before. The businesses were not sure how to make it more profitable, and then they figured it out, and in 2010, 27% of the world population is online. Usage of the international nations or the industrialized nations reached maturity. Social media uses the balance of power through organization and the internet users. So as you can see, by 2010, we are in a good shape to define the business model online. In other words, companies got a good idea as to how they can satisfy the needs and wants of the customers online. Before that, it was more of a chaos. So a point came in when we can say that E was sort of dropped from e-marketing. They predicted that the internet is going to become so common in marketing that there won't be any need for E to be put in the marketing, and we just call it marketing. Uh, Nevertheless, e-business will always have its unique model, concept, and practices because we will be doing some online search and we will always be doing the online data collection. So the point here being is that the way the internet has progressed and the way we have come here since 1993 or 1996, it does not look like that it's going to go back. We are not going to one day say that, oh, internet is not really that good, so let's go back to our basic models. It does not look like it's going to happen. So all indications are that as more and more developing countries or emerging economies will also be adopting the internet, there will be demand for more and more products and services online. And that's why this course is very, very important. And you need to see that more and more jobs will be created in the e-marketing rather than just marketing area in the coming days. This is just the basic progress over the timeline. and how these technologies have emerged. I, of course, don't expect you to memorize those, but just let's have a look at the time. From the time frame, we see that in the beginning that there was a technology trigger, so everything went up and everybody invested over here. This is the place where I told you that there was a bubble burst, and then all of a sudden everything came down because the companies were not making money. And then we started a new generation of things in which we see over here online videos, then we see email marketing, and then we also see the social search. You see that here? This is where we can see now a good improvement and a steady improvement in the profits for the companies in their model. So now more and more companies are comfortable in using the online models. As you can see now, we are moving here, which was as of August 2010. The productivity is going up. So this initial rush which came in was just based on the excitement from the companies. But now, as we are seeing that more and more people are adopting internet, same way more and more companies are becoming more and more profitable, and more business models are being created online as well. So today we see the Web 2.0 technologies which connect people with each other through social media, which have created opportunities and challenges for both marketers and the customers. So let's look at it from the marketer point of view. Number one, this is an opportunity and a challenge for marketers. First one is the power shift from the sellers to the buyers. Customers have become more knowledgeable because of the internet. Now they can go online and browse products which are available not only in their market but in other markets as well. So for example, study has shown that more than 70% of the customers who want to buy a car, they go first online, they browse around, they look at the different models and the prices available in the neighborhood, and even sometimes next door in the other cities or in other countries too. So this way they have much more knowledge about what kind of prices the other companies are offering. And then based on that, when they walk into the showroom, they have lots of knowledge. So this creates a challenge for the car showroom people in this case to see how they can convince them or provide a value for the customer. So customer is more knowledgeable. Power has shifted from the seller to the buyers. It used to be before that when there was no internet, you would walk into the showroom, for example, for the car, and the salespeople would be pushing the products on you. But now it's no longer the case. Secondly, consumers trust each other more than companies. We all have seen that the studies have shown that people don't trust advertising as much as they used to. Consumers trust each other. So, what kind of implication does that have? What it means is if a company is now advertising, people may not trust what they are claiming. On the other hand, if we have someone who has used the product and liked the product and happens to be on the social media and mentions about that product, that yes, the person has used that product, and tell his or her friends, then they will trust him more than the advertisement, and then they'll start buying that product hopefully because their friend is recommending that product. Market and media fragmentation. Market has broken down, the media has also broken down to fragmentation. A good example for that would be the cable TV, in which case now we are seeing not only just basic cable TV, but we are seeing specialized channels, which includes, of course, the business, the kids channel, the movie channel, the food channel, the sports channel, etc., etc. So this way, it creates a challenge for the marketers where to advertise, for example, because the media has fragmented. Online connections are critical now. If you don't have online connections, you as a business, it's highly unlikely that you will survive. I remember that in 90s, in 1994, when I was in California and I would go to a bank branch, and if I want to open an account, they would explain to me that, oh, by the way, now you could also use the internet, use the ATM to withdraw your money, or you can go online also to complete your transactions. And that was very exciting for us. We would say that, wow, this is good. And that was a selling point for the banks at that time. Today, if you go and open an account, and if you ask this bank that if they have online banking, and what if the bank says, no, we don't have online banking, chances are that you are not going to open an account with them, because most of us now would want to have online banking as well. So you see, it has affected various businesses in this case. So if a bank does not have online presence, then the bank might as well not exist actually. It has become so important. Next, as we have said, that the power has shifted from the companies to individual. This slide shows you about it. And as you can see, this arrow, power has shifted down to individual. These are individuals, these are companies. Now, what companies used to do before was, in the traditional media like TV, radio, magazine, newspaper, they would do what is called the centralized push. They would push the information to you, and you will be watching over there. Just one-sided story you'll be listening to, and it's not an interactive, and they would be hoping that you will be buying products from their media. But as we have said, now the power has shifted to individuals, from the companies to the individuals. Companies cannot push these kind of products and services to us. Instead, now it's the customer who's got what is called the decentralized pull. In other words, they would be then going through various types of social media and trying to find information, and then based on that information they would do what is called the pull, and they would pull that information to see if they really want that product or not. As I gave you the example in the previous slide about the cars, in the traditional media, on the TV, you'll see the cars. On the radio, they'll advertise magazines and newspaper, etc. So you'll have the information about the cars from there. And then maybe you'll go to the showroom, do a test drive, and then buy the car. That was a centralized push. But now in this case, it's more of a pull, because now this customer is looking at various social network websites, the blogs, and maybe comments from the other people who bought the car. And then if they like that car, maybe based on that, this individual will start considering that car to purchase that. So you see the shift. It has really is a setback for the companies, but it is basically a power which the customers have gained. As I mentioned to you, more and more companies are now using the social media. I mean, more and more, sorry, customers are using the media. So companies are basically acquiring their customers from the social media. So they are acquiring customers from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Twitter, etc., etc. The social media has become quite an important means of marketing. Other opportunities and challenges which we might see is internet adoption is maturing now. So in this case, people are looking for more powerful websites to gain. Of course, they want more space, and there is more information available in there, and they are depending 24 hours a day on that internet. Online retail sales has reached 4% of all the sales. Now this is of course a figure from the US, but we are seeing similar kind of trends all over the world also, whereby the retailing has become an important, part in the sense that people have started to trust the online to deliver them the products. It was not the way before. In the early time when internet was there, you would not feel comfortable giving your information online, especially the credit card information. And in this case, of course, you would not be purchasing products like books or music or other things online. But now we are seeing people more and more comfortable. Here in Korea, of course, this is much more mature now in the sense that we feel very comfortable in purchasing products from companies like Gmarket, etc. Search engines are now reputation engines. Search engine is the key thing. Research has shown that most of the people first search from the Google as a search engine. This is their major search engine. Content is still the king. More content, the better it is. Improved online and offline strategy integration. Very, very important. We should not, as a marketer, we should not think of this new media as the thing which is what we call the end of it. What the point I'm trying to make here is that the customer is still the same, the consumer behavior is still the same. So you need to look at it from the customer point of view. In other words, you still as a marketer need to satisfy the needs and wants of the customer. And so in this case, you need to use some online strategies, but at the same time, some offline strategies too, and combine them in order to get the maximum output. So some companies, they are using billboards in order to advertise the website. So in this case, people see the billboard, check the website, then they come to the website, and then they see different products and services. Hyundai in the US did the same thing. Their product or the cars, Hyundai cars, they had billboards on which they would write down about the website address for the Hyundai so that they could come in, give them some incentives. Once they were online, then you could give them all sorts of information about your products. Intellectual capital rules. The more you have the intellectual capital, the more powerful companies are becoming now. Similarly, we are seeing the broadband adoption. Of course, now this is history. There are more and more uh, countries and companies adopting the broadband, and in countries like China, it has become quite popular. Same way in Korea, of course. Uh, and we are seeing more of this, but it does not mean the end of it. We are seeing that there are more and more uh, people who are still out there. They have to um, they need the access, and in some countries, as we learn later on, the uh, challenges are still there for the people who are online because of the absence of the broadband. We see the products, for example, like in Amazon, it sells a large variety of hard to find books too. So in this case, the economic model is becoming more and more successful now for the presence on the web. So the future lines between traditional and the new media are blurring. In other words, remember we said in one of the slides that maybe the e-marketing, from the e-marketing, the E is dropping. What it means is that in every marketing course now we need to be learning more about the internet so that we know that this is uh, it's going to be around. The internet is there. That's a means by which we can fulfill the needs and wants of the customer. So in this case, the traditional and the new media are blurring lines. Appliances are converging and becoming smarter. We are seeing more and more appliance in this case could be uh, your products. I mean, for example, in this case, we are seeing our smartphones. They have much more capability than what we used to have before. It was not possible before to use the smartphone or the mobile phone to make a purchase online. It was very difficult, but now more and more smartphones are coming, which are more powerful, and they are becoming more and more smarter. Same way we are seeing other appliances like the new microwave one, which some research has been done, is microwave is becoming the internet too, in which case you could program that and it could give you some recipes, or it could assist you in cooking a product as an example. Wireless network, of course, is increasing. We are seeing the Wi-Fi, more and more Wi-Fi. It used to be before that the desktop used to be the largest percentage. Now we are seeing almost the end of the desktop. They are end of the life cycle. We are seeing not only the laptops, but even the laptops are now changing to the tablets, like the um, the Apple's product too, as an example, iPad as an example, or the Samsung's Galaxy. Semantic Web will provide worldwide access to data on demand without efforts. Yes, in the coming years, we are seeing more and more powerful web which will provide access worldwide to the data, and less efforts will be required in the future. Have a look at this train station, for example, Wi-Fi there. Of course, we have Wi-Fi in the Korea as well. And now this is things of the past. This is a given now. Finally, how do experts characterize as Web 3.0, which is the in the coming years? Semantic web, which we said will be achieved, and the mobile device will be primarily internet connection tool by 2020. So we'll be seeing actually it's moving even faster than that we are seeing the mobile devices. Interactive media will be cannibalizing the traditional media. What it means is, according to the Forrester research, that the internet media, if you have, I mean, so let me give you an example. Um, a newspaper, as an example, will not only have, right now we are seeing that they don't have a choice. They have their own physical newspaper as well as online newspaper. But according to Forrester research, they're saying that because they'll have an online interactive media in there, it will cannibalize their traditional media, which means that there will be more people reading your newspaper online compared to reading your physical newspaper. So in this case, you may have to cut down. Your sales will go down for the newspaper. So you will have to come up with different business models for that. Web 3.0 will ultimately be seen as applications which are pieced together, run on any device, are very fast, and are distributed virtually everywhere. So, of course, rather than getting too much into technical, I think at this point in time, as marketeers, we need to see that yes, technology is available which will help us implement our traditional marketing tools into online and satisfy the needs and wants of the customer. In the next chapter, we will be talking about the strategic e-marketing um, um, perspective, and we will see that how when we are developing a marketing plan, how would internet help us in there, or how internet or the e-marketing will assist us in implementing those strategies when we are competing with the other companies who are also in the similar kind of scenario. So that should do for this session. In the next session, as I said, we will be discussing chapter 2. Thank you, and if you have any question, write me. Have a good day. Bye bye.